everybody. This is Becky here at Aunt Beck's Creations, and I'm going to do a pattern review. I just finished, well, I'm not totally finished because I have like a bazillion thread ends to sew in. That's it. I told y'all on Monday that I was going to start this dragon. Well, I've already finished it. It was a quick fix. It's a free pattern on Yarnspirations. Let me show you the color picture from the print off. Okay, there it is. And good morning, Janet. I just wanted to come on to save you guys. If you want to try this, I'm going to give you some tips on working this type of pattern, because you really, when they give you a chart, you end up really needing to understand the chart as well as the directions. And I'm going to go over that in a minute. But you were supposed to use a super bulky size 6, the Bernay blanket. You know, that fuzzy, soft yarn that's maybe a 1/4 inch in diameter. Well, you guys know that I like to thrift my yarn. Good morning, Melanie and Pam. So I had thrifted all of these yarns that I used. So my dragon I made with some of this Caron 1 pound, and this is all my leftovers. So I got one blanket, and I could probably make another one with what I have in supplies. You also need to keep in mind that my blanket is smaller than what the pattern says it's going to. I haven't measured it to be sure about that. We'll back up on that, and I will measure my actual blanket here in just a minute. But I used Caron 1 pound in claret. I've got yarn just blooming everywhere. Yeah, just pieces. Because you have to use little pieces. Although I did work from the skeins and then had to cut the yarn instead of, they suggest that you roll a bunch of little balls of yarn up, and I didn't want to do that, so I didn't. So the other color on my dragon, I used, this is a Craft Smart, same weight, 4-ply, number 4. But this is the Michaels brand in mustard. And don't you just love this blanket on the label? Reminds me of our sampler blanket we did, Janet. So those were my dragon colors. And my background, I used Caron 1 pound in cream. And you can see I still have a good bit of this left. And then my border is the Sage Green Red Heart Super Saver. I actually paid more for this than it was new at Hobby Lobby, but that's okay. Thrifting. So there's probably $8 or $9 in thrifted yarn that would have cost me, 10, 12, maybe even more in the stores. So let me show you my blanket and we'll measure it. I'm going to show you the front and I'll show you the back to let you know what you're going to be up. I've been sewing and sewing on ends, but here's my dragon. And didn't he turn out pretty? Wouldn't this be a great baby gift? If you wanted to make it feminine, you could make your dragon pink and purple. So this is what it looks like. And this is what your back will look like at the end. I've got to sew in all of those tails. Somebody said you should sew them in as you go. Well, because these are short runs of yarn, I want to really sew them in. And so I will loop around a thread and then I'll sew in one direction and back through the other, but I will split my yarn as I'm doing it, and I try to keep all of that at the back of the piece so that it doesn't show up on the front. Okay, so let's give this a measure. got to find some place that I can measure. And this is a little bit stretched out. So this way is about 35. It's probably about 35 by 36. So if you try this, some tips. Get you a highlighter out. And when you reach the end of a row, highlight it like I did. That way you'll know exactly where you are on the pattern, and you won't get confused too much. Now you do have to pay attention that you're going, this pattern is actually you turning them upside down, and you work from this corner up at an angle, like from here to there. So actually, no, from here where the arrow is, and you work a diagonal. What you have to pay attention if you're looking at this graph is the numbers for the row are at the end of the row. So they have number 1 on this side, and so number 2 will finish on that side. 3 finishes there, 4 finishes there. And that will keep you on task that you're going in the right direction. If you get confused as you're working along and you're not really paying attention, you can end up going the wrong way. That happened to me. I had to rip out like 2 rows because I had the dragon's eyeball on his chin. So that didn't work out. So you really have to pay attention to where those numbers are. So you'll know that if the number that you just finished is along the bottom here, that you're going up on the chart. And if it's on the side, you're going down on the chart. Now I'm going to bring you down to the table because I had an issue with the pattern at when you get to, it says to work it in the pattern per the chart until you get to row 33. Once you've completed row 33, they start you with this row 34, 35 repeat. And if you do what they say in the writing, it will not look like the chart. And I'll show you why. All right. I'm going to bring you down here. Maybe the camera will quit having so much trouble. And I've printed off a copy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark across it to show you where row 33 is. So let's see. I have my ruler is here. And I want to do this with a colored marker. All right. So keep in mind, you're supposed to work it according to the chart until row 33, which row 33 ends you on this corner of the Afghan, right? So if I take this and I go up to where 33 started, which is the little square between 32 and 34, I'm going to just draw a line down through. Okay, so you've completed all of this. This is the completed. All right, so now on row 34, which will start down here, right above 33, it'll start here because the 34 is up here. And remember what I told you, the numbers tell you where you should end up at the end of that row. Okay, I hope that made sense. Hi, Vicki. See, anybody else come in? I thought I saw Angie. Hi, Angie. All right, so you've completed your row 33, which is this row here. I'll just quickly color in the square so you can see it really good. You guys won't mind watching me color squares. I did this in black and white so I could use a colored pen and show you guys what I'm talking about. And I have emailed Yarn Inspirations. They've got like this contact on each of the patterns. It said you can send an email here. That does not work. The something in the workings of that is messed up because you can't send your message. It says, and I can't even save it. I can't even save it to my inbox or my where you're writing it and then you stop. So I just went to the regular page and I found their contact information, and I have emailed them, but I didn't hear back from them yet. But I wanted to keep going. All right, so row 34, which will end up here where this 34 is, right here. And then 35 will end you here. Okay, it says, when we start down here, do the beginning block in the chain space 3 to the last chain 3 space, and then it says do not make a block up here. When you get to the end of the row and you do not make a block, which will add into the height, what you'll end up with is your blanket is going to turn a corner here. If you do as they say and stop making blocks additions at this end of it, here you quit making block ends and it works out fine on this side of the blanket. But up here where these rows are, what it ends up doing is it would cut your blanket off right here if you do as they say. All right. And is that going to work? Is that what you want? You don't want the rest of his tail and the side of the blanket? That's what they have if you do what these instructions say to do. Which on this end of it, it works out okay because you're stacking and building and it works fine. But up here, if you do what they say at the end of 34, you're going to turn this corner right there. But what you actually have to do is keep adding, you're adding a block here, which is you chain 6 and then you work back on that chain in the 4th, 5th, and 6th ones to create the little block. And the blocks are a slip stitch into the chain space, then you chain 3, and then there's, I don't know if that's the symbol because I'm not used to it, but then you do 3 double crochets, okay? So if you don't add this on top of this, your blanket's going to stop right there. So what you have to do is ignore their instructions until you get to row up here at, this would be 37. When you do 37, the rows 37, that's when you'll start turning this corner and not creating any additional blocks. You just work to the end, and then your rows get shorter and shorter and shorter. I don't know. So anyway, I found this error. I don't know if I'll ever hear from them or if they'll change it. But because I suggested this pattern to my community, I felt like I should come on and point this out because you will be incredibly frustrated if you try to do what they're saying. What they're saying doesn't match the chart. So if you decide you want to do one of these cute little dragons, I say go for it. And if you have questions, if you get stuck, maybe PM me and we can chat and we'll go through it. So again, that's what I came on to let you guys know. He is absolutely adorable, worked up. I could like make a bunch of these and I would just have so much fun. It is a fun project. If you use a smaller yarn, the blanket will come down smaller. Oh, that's what it remembers. If you make it with the Bernay blanket, the bulky 6, they say, the blanket should measure 45 inches by 50 inches. And mine's like, what did I say? About a yard-ish. I don't think it's square. Let's fold it corner to corner. No, it's not perfectly square. So my measurement's probably off because I didn't lay it down to measure it. I was trying to hold it, and yarn stretches. You guys know. But isn't he adorable? Oh my God. I am just so in love with this blanket. I need a grandchild. So anyway, there's that. I could almost see it would take an absolute ton of yarn, but get that really, really big yarn and try to do this and see if it would work out bedside size. So yeah. Oh my God. I just can't believe how much fun I had making him. It does get confusing because you're working on an angle and you start with his nose. So basically your chart is like this. So you're working upside down. So you're working from his head to his tail or his toes, whatever you want to say. So yeah, let's see if we can hold it up and see if YouTube will pick me a good thing. And again, I'm going to be sitting here for a while. But yeah. Isn't it great? And let's see, I started this. When did I start this? Monday, and it's Wednesday, and I basically finished it last night. So if you just sat and crocheted this, you could probably do it in one day if you didn't have anything else to do and didn't need to take breaks for your back and your legs. I will say that I need to go for a walk or something today because last night my legs were so swollen from sitting, just from sitting. Yep, Monday during Janet's live, I had started the dragon. So he is coming along. Actually, I think I started him and had just like this nose part done Sunday night. And I did end up, when I got to about here, I had messed up. So I ended up, actually it would be this way. I had to rip out 2 rows because I was trying to watch a movie and do this, and I flipped the direction. So I was doing the rows upside down. He looked really bizarre at that point, but it's easy enough to fix. And it's just, a little bit of time. And with crochet, you can just rip it out and keep going. With knitting, I would have lost my mind if I'd had to rip it out because I don't understand the mechanics of knitting well enough to catch the right stitches. So I just pull it all the way out and start over. That's why I don't knit a lot. So anyway, all right. This was new on Yarnspirations just last week. So he popped up and I knew I had to do him. So if you sign up for Yarnspirations emails, you're notified when they get the new patterns put up. And they're quite fun to do. All right. I'm going to let you guys go. I will be on at 1:30 after Ann. I don't know what we're going to do today. I do need to make one more flower. And we have 8 people signed up. I had 9, but Shannon asked to be removed because she can't manage it right now, which is fine. If you decide you don't want to participate, please let me know before the 30th because I'm going to give you your partner. Now, I know several of us have made enough to send one to everybody in the group. And what I would say is I'm going to give you a partner plus one sent to me. And then if you want to send to everybody else, please do not expect to get one back from everyone else, because not everyone else wanted to swap with all 8 people. So they are only going to make 2. Okay. I do know that some of us would like to swap with everybody. So I'm sending one to everybody, but I expect one from everyone because I'm sending one to everyone because I'm the putter together, the organizer. That's it, the putter together. The organizer. I would like one, plus you send one to your partner. So you're technically only committed to 2 flowers, and it's only 1 flower per person. And the reason, or per swap partner. The reason I did that is to keep the envelopes flat, so you can maybe even send them with just a single postage stamp, whether it's USA or international, as long as you use an international stamp or the equivalent of USA stamps, which I know some people think you have to have an international stamp to mail internationally. You do not. You just have to have the right money amount on there. I think international's like, I want to say $1.68. I could be wrong on that. But I do have some international stamps, but a lot of times I know the gals over there in UK or Canada, they like the fun little stamps we have in the USA. So I do a combination. Yes, Janet, I saw that you said that you would swap up to 4. But there were so many people coming back saying they wanted to do 2 that I was like, well, I'll just say, here's your swap partner, plus please send one to me. And if you want to send to anybody else, please do feel free. I do know Kathy Whitney is planning to send one to each participant. And so expect one from Kathy. I don't know. I know Anne's got enough made too. So you might want to just hit Anne up and say, hey, I understand you have an extra. Would you like to swap with me? And if you get one from somebody and they're not your partner, I'm not going to say you have to send a flower back. I don't want this to be pressurized in any way. I wanted this to be something fun for everybody to do that wanted to play along. And once we get all our flowers, I am going to do a project with my flowers that I will share on here. And you can follow along with that if you want to, or you can use your flowers any way that you want to use your flowers. But I'm going to share a project with you on how to use these flowers. I will ask that, and I'll probably go over this all again when I go live at 1:30. I have another, here it is. This is our list. The ginger cat lady, she's new to me and she wanted to be part of this. I need you to, I need to figure out a way for you to contact me, because we're going to need your mailing address for the swap. I have everybody else's address that's on this list. I believe I even have Goldie Steph's address in my book. But the ginger cat lady, you're new to us, and I'd love to have you participate if there's some way. My email is on my about page. Okay. All right. Now I really, Anne streams at 12:30 after she gets home from cards, and then I come on at 1:30, and then Yolande Devin Rex is on at 3, I think, and the rest of the day I can't remember the whole schedule. I think Dee Dee's on right now. I'm not sure. All right. So I'll talk to you guys at 1:30. I'm blathering now. So bye.